The 111 Project started because I lost my son Malachi to fentanyl. And back in, 2020, when he passed, my grandmother, who raised me, she passed months before him, January. And she used to always say, guys, it's 1:11, look at the clock. And our whole family would just send all these screenshots and everything to each other as a family thing. But then when he died in August 2020 to fentanyl, and I started researching, one pill kills, and every 11 minutes back then, someone was dying from fentanyl. So I just felt like it was right. I felt like it needed to be 111 something. And so the 111 Project was founded. We now do, educational presentations for fentanyl in schools, churches, communities all over the world. So locally, we've gone to all of our small little West Texas surrounding towns. We will be going to Dallas, Texas soon. And I have a lady in Georgia who actually wants to collaborate and, become a part of 111. But we recently went to Kenya, Africa. And now we have a whole group of volunteers there that are boots on the ground, handing out information, educating the youth in their communities. And it's really awesome. When Malachi lost his life to fentanyl, I mean, he deserved to live. He deserved to live past 20 years old. And when I made the decision to educate people about fentanyl and what's happening, I said, I'm going to do this all over the world. Some people have said, hey, why? Why don't you just stay in the U.S.? What do you mean? But fentanyl is just not in the U.S. It's everywhere. It's becoming an issue in a whole lot of places all over the world. And so that's my mission. I really believe that's my mission. That's what I'm supposed to be doing in life. It's supposed to be all over the world. We all have a voice for a reason, and this is what I'm choosing to use mine for. We'll set up at vendor events to hand out Narcan and educational information about fentanyl. We will provide rehab resources and, counseling resources and things like that. But school presentations is kind of what our main focus is, because we want the youth to be educated on what this is before they get in contact with it. From junior high up through high school, we go into the schools, we educate them on what fentanyl is, what it can do to you. We educate on mental health and, how that plays a part in addiction. We educate on Narcan. We educate on what to do if you are faced with a situation. And then we kind of tell our own stories so that these children can be emotionally impacted. Because although, yes, they will sit through a presentation, but sometimes it's not until it really hits them, in the heartstrings. Like, that could be my mom. They look at all these posters that we set up and they're like, that could be me. That could be my sister, my brother, my friend. And it's a really powerful thing. All addiction is the same. It doesn't matter if it is pornography, if it's drugs, if it's alcohol, if it's food, if it's cigarettes. It doesn't matter. Addiction is all the same thing. Because drugs gets a bad rap, sometimes I think that people are like, well, no, we don't need to talk about that. Not realizing that, no, we need to talk about that. Because they don't know what their children are faced with. Peer pressure, what's going on when they get dropped off at school, what's going on when they go out with their friends. They have no idea what they're looking at on social media. So I think the biggest challenge is just people maybe not being educated and not having an open mind about what needs to be talked about. You need to be educated, because if a child can hear a story from one of us mothers, fathers, whoever, about how their child smoked marijuana and lost their life, about how their child went to a party and took a Percocet and lost their life. They weren't an addict. They weren't addicted to anything. They went to a party in the summertime, having fun with their friends, got peer pressured, and took something one time and lost their life at 15, 16, 17 years old. Some even younger than that. Then I think a lot of them would make different decisions. When they hear these stories, then it's like, wait a minute, this is real. It's like even the weed thing, you know? They don't believe because it's marijuana that it can happen to them, and it can. We have a 15-year-old girl in our group. Her dad said, hey, she smoked, and now she's no longer here. It's not a lie. That's what I tell the kids in the school. You see this dad right here? He's a real dad, and she was a real daughter. She's no longer here from smoking weed, guys. Like, it can happen. Obviously, we need donors, sponsors. We need people in other cities, states, and countries who want to partner, who would like the opportunity to educate their people on fentanyl awareness, to have us come to their areas, to provide education to whoever it is that they need to do it for, right? Whether it's their churches, schools, just in the community, you know? We need people who care. People who care about what's really going on and who want to make a difference. You can find us on Facebook, The 111 Project, Odessa, Texas. You can go to our TikTok, 111 Project, Snapchat, The 111 Project, The 111 Project. We like to do a lot of, educational things on there because kids are on Snapchat. And our website is www.11project, spelled out.org. You can catch us there. I like to think that I'm kind of a cool mom, and I get on their level. So when we talk to them, it's, what is fentanyl, right? And I tell them, hey, I know you don't want to sit through this, but we're going to have fun. We're gonna talk about the things that need to be talked about, but we're also gonna have a good time. And they sit there and kind of, okay, what's fentanyl, and how is it made, and what is it, and what can happen to you? But then I really feel like when we start telling our stories, that's when they are locked in, because then they realize this is somebody's mother. This is really a real thing. And it's like afterwards, so many of the kids come up to us and say, I'm struggling. I've been taking pills myself. I've been snorting cocaine. I've been smoking weed. I'm struggling with mental health. I've wanted to commit suicide. You have a handful of kids that come up after every single presentation. And that's when I know that our job is done. We went there for a reason, and, somebody was listening. One person was listening. That's what matters.